I'm going to call the Star City Council meeting to order. It's Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022 at 7 p.m. I'd like you all please to stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is Brian Howard here? He is not here. So we'll have Mr. Wheelock, will you do our invocation tonight, please? Sure. Okay.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for the opportunity we have to meet together as a city council and city. We are grateful for the wonderful area that we live in, and pray that as we try to take care of the city's business, that we will do so wisely, and that we might be guided to those decisions that will best influence the direction of the city as a whole. We are grateful and acknowledge thy hand in all things in our lives, and say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Roll call.
Mr. Hershey. Here. Mr. Wheelock.
Here.
Mr. Chadwick.
Here.
Mrs. Salenson.
Here.
Mr. Nielsen.
Present.
He's got to be the difficult one. He's present. All right, we're going to move.
I'm right here.
You're right here.
Present.
We're going to move on to item 4A, proclamation for the National Small Business Week in 2022. We have Miss Irene Gonzalez here with SBA. And so let me get a little drink of water because this is a long one. So this is a City of Star proclamation, whereas America's strongest economic growth in almost 40 years has been driven by the resilience of our small businesses who, despite a worldwide pandemic, continue to pioneer innovative solutions to our country's greatest challenges and create opportunities for families and workers. And whereas from the storefront shops at Acre Main Street to the high-tech startups that keep America on the cutting edge, to the small manufacturers driving our competitiveness, let me try that again, on the global stage, small businesses are the backbone of our economy and the cornerstones of our nation's promise. And whereas when we support small businesses, jobs are created and local communities preserve their unique culture. And whereas because the country's 32.5 million small businesses create nearly 2 out of 3 jobs in our economy, we cannot resolve ourselves to create jobs and spur economic growth in America without discussing ways to support our entrepreneurs. And whereas the President of the United States has proclaimed National Small Business Week every year since 1963 to highlight the programs and services available to entrepreneurs through the U.S. Small Business Administration and other government agencies. And whereas the City of Star supports and joins in this national effort to help America's small businesses do what they do best, grow their business, create jobs, ensure that our local communities remain as vibrant tomorrow as they are today. Now, therefore, I, Trevor A. Chadwick, Mayor of the City of Star, do hereby proclaim May 1st through May 7th, 2022 as National Small Business Week, signed this 3rd day of May, 2022. So thank you to all of our small businesses. We got a lot of cool ones here in Star and in this valley as a whole. So I do appreciate you guys. Here's a signed one. Does this go with them, Miss Dana? Or go with you? Stays here? Okay. So we'll get you a copy of that. So thank you so much. Okay, then we have a Idaho Power presentation by Ms. Paris.
Hey, Chadwick,
Councilman.
I just want to introduce a round of applause for the.
Okay, round of applause, please, for small businesses. Yes, that's okay. Thank you. Idaho Power, Ms. Paris, do you have anything to present? Okay, all right, very good.
Okay, is this working? Sounds like it's working. Excellent. Well, thank you, Mayor. We appreciate the opportunity to come out and speak to you in the Star City Council this evening. As you may have seen in some recent news articles, Idaho Power did file our price cost adjustment recently, and our rates will be going up as a result of that, what we call our PCA, which is the acronym for that price cost adjustment. So we just wanted an opportunity to talk to you a little bit about why that's happening and kind of what goes into that PCA to make those rates go up. So really that PCA is a way for us to true up to the energy costs that we experience, that we purchase on the open market and that we also generate. And so really what we're seeing is obviously some record low hydro numbers with the drought conditions that we're experiencing. For those of you who aren't familiar, hydro is one of our largest contributors to our energy sources here in Idaho Power's territory. So when we see those hydro conditions lower, that means we're able to produce less energy from those hydro facilities. So when you couple that with kind of the unprecedented heat that we saw last year, and that heat dome and the fact that everybody was turning on their air conditioners, that means we have to go out to the open market and purchase power as well. And the costs of all of these things then get trued up. So there's a backward looking component of the PCA and there's also a forecasted component of the PCA. So that's us looking forward at what we anticipate for this coming year. And so when you combine those things, we kind of allocate that cost across our customers. It is important to note that neither the company nor our shareholders receive any financial return from the PCA. It's strictly a pass-through for those energy-related costs. And the PCA is the same for all of our customers, be it large commercial or residential, but the way that it impacts a customer's bill is slightly different. So the total cost for a customer is about 7.5 cents per kWh of increase that they'll see starting June 1, assuming that the Public Utilities Commission approves this filing. But the way that plays out on a large customer's bill would be different than it would play out on a residential customer's bill. So at this point, we're anticipating that the average residential customer would see a monthly increase of about $7.80. I think that that's kind of the majority of what I wanted to share with you guys tonight, but I'm happy to take any questions and we can chat about that or other power related questions that you guys might have.
You guys have questions of Ms. Paris? Just real quick, so does Idaho Power serve Wyoming also then and parts of Oregon at all, or is it just?
We do serve parts of Oregon, just slightly into the eastern part of that state.
So do they get the same rate increase through the PUC, or do you got to do it?
We have to
differently
do a separate filing with the Oregon PUC. This one is specific to Idaho, so I'm not sure what Oregon's will look like.
Okay. And then I was pretty, I like this, Idaho Power prices are approximately 20% lower than the national average for residential customers and about 30% lower for business customers. So it's still pretty efficient. So.
And we anticipate that that will continue as we see other utilities file their rates as well. I mean, we do have some of the lowest rates in the nation, which is great. We'd love to see our PCA, be a negative figure, which it has been in recent years. But obviously with the confluence of factors, that's just not the case this year.
So with this, it's almost like you're on trial here, but
I know.
I just want to ask a question though. So let's say we have this incredible water year this fall and the dams and everything fill up. Is there a chance for it to go backwards?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have had negative PCAs in the past.
Okay.
So it's possible that next year that PCA could be lower. It could be more, right? So it will get trued up based on what has happened over the year from now forward. And then also at that point, a year from now, we'll take a projection into the future and assess that at that point as well. And that will all get baked into that PCA.
Okay. I just thought it was important for people to understand. We have so many new people in our valley from other areas that can go backwards. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have a question now?
Yeah.
Absolutely, Councilman.
What is our cost per kilowatt hour currently
It varies by
per
customer.
resident?
I think it's around 5 or 6 cents. I'd have to look. And to be honest, I'm a little bit more involved on the commercial side. So I'm not as familiar with our residential rates, but I'll definitely get that information back over to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Anything further for Ms. Paris? Okay, thank you, Ms. Paris. Appreciate you coming out
Thank you
here and
guys.
letting
Appreciate your
everybody know.
time.
Yep. Okay, we're going to move on to item 5, the consent agenda.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilwoman,
I will move to approve the consent agenda consisting of item 5B, January 18th, 2022, City Council meeting minutes, item 5C, February 15th, 2022, City Council meeting minutes. Item 5D, the final plat for Moon Valley number 6. Item 5F, the final plat for Welton Estates. Item 5H, the final plat for Milestone Ranch number 1. And to move items E and G down to the action items.
Which would be moving item E, final plat for Ameristar, to item H, 6H, and then item 5G down to 6I. Mr. Jacob, you got that? Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Why are we moving those two?
Because there's going to be some discussion on those about sidewalks before they get approved.
Perfect.
Okay, and just so everybody's aware, these final plats are part of projects that have been approved in the years past. And so there are no public hearings on these portions here. With that, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey.
Aye.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Salmonson.
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. We're going to move on to item 6A, the agenda amendment.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we amend the agenda to show what it says, to add 6A to reaffirm 357-2022, which is just adding in the Idaho Press Tribune as our paper of publishing.
And then there, G is the amendment where we're adding item G, 6G on there.
That one too.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, second. Any further discussion? Okay, this is a good faith reason to repair an administrative error that the Idaho Press Tribune had, guys. This was approved previously, and the Idaho Press Tribune failed to publish it. So this is what we're doing. Okay, hearing, yes, did you want to add to it? Okay,
Need
roll
to
call.
Reread the ordinance.
No, that's at the end. We'll do the
Okay.
ordinance at the end, but this is just amending the agenda. Roll call.
Hershey.
Aye.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Salmonson.
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. Move on to item 6, B, the Star Sewer and Water District Joint Powers Agreement. You're here to approve. What happened? Oh, here we go. To approve the Joint Powers Agreement, we have Star Sewer and Water. When we brought in Ryan Morgan as our city engineer. He's a joint engineer, our city engineer and the sewer and waters engineer. So this is the joint powers agreement that you guys either approve or you don't approve. So I'd entertain a motion.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilwoman,
I'll make a motion to approve the Star Water and Sewer District Joint Powers Agreement.
okay, we have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey.
Aye.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Salmonson.
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. We'll move on to item 6C, ordinance 353. We need to introduce it. Okay,
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Hershey.
I move that we introduce and pursuant to the Idaho Code, section 50-902, the rule requiring an ordinance to be read on 3 different days with one reading to be in full be dispensed with. That ordinance number 353-2022 be considered and read once by title only.
Okay, we got a motion. We have a second.
Second.
We got a motion, a second. Any further discussion?
2 seconds.
Councilman Wheelock, second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Hershey.
Aye.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Salmonson.
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. We need a motion to approve.
I'll read it. Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hershey.
I move that we approve ordinance number 353-2022 Langtree Bungalows Subdivision Annexation and Development Agreement AZ 21-11 Develop Agreement -2116 and preliminary plat 21-15 and PR 21-08. Is it the same? Yes. An ordinance annexing to the city of Star certain real property located in the unincorporated area of Anna County, Idaho, more specifically located at 9670 West Floating Feather Road in Star, Idaho, Anna County parcel S0405449050 and contiguous to the city of Star. The property is owned by Lane Tree Bungalows LLC, establishing the zoning classification of the annexed property as residential with the development agreement R4-DA of approximately 27.09 acres, directing that certified copies of the ordinance be filed as provided by law, providing for related matters and providing for an effective date.
Okay, we got a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
Councilman Nielsen seconded it.
PR is private road, sorry. Forget.
What?
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention.
Sean?
We're postponing that ordinance
Oh.
tonight.
Oh, we are.
Yes,
I
I'm sorry.
retract my last 500 words.
Clerk and I had some confusion.
Okay, so we are
Sorry about that.
postponing ordinance 3532022. There is no motion on the floor. Okay, that's all right.
Mayor, there is a motion in a second.
Well, we just say no, or do we just
So the motion is to,
approve it?
you've already waived the rules.
Right.
The motion is to approve. I think you would withdraw the motion.
Okay, Councilman Hershey?
Withdrawn.
Okay, motion is withdrawn. Okay. We'll move on to item 6D, River House Decorative Patio Installation Bid Approval. This is for the River House on the back steps to put a patio down there. That'll be stamped patio.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen?
I just want to check on procedure here. We amended the agenda and we did not remove that item. And do we need anything like a motion to table or another motion for amending the agenda?
It's not a public hearing, so it can always come back on a future agenda. So you don't need to necessarily, you don't need to table it to a date certain, or even table it.
Okay.
It's probably just for the purposes of the minutes, beneficial for we've had the conversation, but just indicate that it's being tabled to a future meeting.
Which we did, correct?
I think we just said that it's being taken off.
Right.
It's being taken off. You don't have to take
Right.
it to a specific date.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
sure we're
Hey,
good.
that's good. It's all right. So item 6D, this is the River House Decorative Patio Installation. This is for a stamped patio down on the area at the bottom of the stairs off the back balcony. So entertain a motion to approve.
How many yards of
Organized.
concrete is that? 25?
I have no idea. I'm not a yard guy. It's not in the quote.
Oh, well, I was just calculating, it's about 25.
Okay.
Since one question was asked, I'll go ahead and ask another.
Okay.
Does this include the landing on the other set of stairs?
No,
See
this,
in there?
we didn't do anything with that yet.
Okay.
Nope.
Will they get the concrete?
Yes, they will get the concrete.
Well, then, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve this. I believe this is a vendor we've used in the past and have had quite good success with.
Correct. Okay, we got a motion. We have a second.
Second,
Okay, we got a motion, a second, roll call. Or excuse me, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmonson,
aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Okay, and these funds come out of our park impact fee capital improvement monies. So item 6E, the River House parking lot curb bid approval. We need to put a curb around that parking lot at the River House. People are driving too far forward and breaking off the asphalt. So this is, and it's also going to put a slip on the west end to provide access to the grass areas for additional parking on there.
Did you want both considerations in there? It looks like it has an option.
Um,
The 644 square feet, the concrete there.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So yeah, the total bid of 19,850, which includes the curb and that drive slip.
Well, I make a motion that we approve this. I truly believe, I honestly believe that this vendor, Pathways Concrete and Landscape, is very good at giving us a very a realistic bid.
Okay. We have a motion. We have a second.
Second,
We got a motion second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Simonson,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. We're gonna move on to item 6F, our Star Fire District Workshop discussion. Is Chief Greg here? Is Mr. Victor coming or is it on you tonight? So we're gonna have a discussion with Star Fire District about some of our upcoming code changes and things that they would like to see on here. So the floor is yours, sir, at 7:20 there, Jacob, if you need that.
Thank you. All right. City Council, Mayor and staff, I wasn't at the meeting, but Sean was able to fill me in on some agreements that we have came up with for setbacks. I know a council, we have talked about changing setbacks to 10 foot on each side. We've talked about 7 foot on each side. We've had complaints about 3 foot setbacks. We've had lots of discussion. And I think what was ended up with in certain, in the code, and correct me anywhere that I might be wrong, Sean, is with a 10 foot on one side and 7 and 5 on the other side to equal 15. And if I believe that when you do that, you have to have the envelope. So you always have 15 feet between houses. So that was a kind of a solution that we came up with.
Or Mr. Mayor and Council and Chief, or a straight 7.5 foot
That's correct.
per story setback.
That was my question, Chief, is depending on a story, 7.5 if it's 2 and 5 if it's 1. We're
I
sorry,
think that,
I just lost my math.
that's right. I think the goal is to create a 15-foot
First floor.
distance regardless
Between buildings.
between buildings.
Matter what.
Yeah, so we don't have the 10, it's increasing the distance between buildings by 5 feet, basically.
But it allows them an offset of type to shift or something. like
Right,
that
either a
in the-
5 foot and 10 or 7.5, 7.5
That's what I meant.
on there.
Yeah.
If they opt for
Yeah.
the 5 and 10, then they'll need to put a building envelope on the
That's what it
plat,
was,
so
yes.
we can make sure that the houses get put on the lots correctly. Otherwise, you get one that doesn't do that. It throws everything else off. So-
And-
Uh,
and-
And
sorry, what
that's
density is-
just what we're proposing. You guys
Paul.
will hear this on June 7th when we do the ordinance, and we can discuss it in more detail at that time. But I think that's what the fire department staff has agreed to.
Yeah, that's what we
Present to
agreed to. There's other discussions that we've had in the past and we could talk about those. I do believe that there is places for smaller setbacks. Sean and I talked about it this morning in planned unit developments. So that doesn't mean that a developer can come in and make his whole 500 acres of planned unit development and ask for smaller setbacks. In my mind, fire district's mind, that's the areas that we have like senior living, maybe there's one in Heron River that we're familiar with that has narrower setbacks. They're single story houses. We can get on those roofs the way that the roofs are built. We can get on from the front side, and we typically don't have in those developments a lot of older cars sitting out in the street, parked next to the side of the house that could cause problems and potentially cause fires. And so I think that there is a place for that. So it's just not everywhere, in my mind, it's not everywhere you have to have the 15-foot setback. There is places that those hearings come through you guys to see. Somebody makes a development that, has one section that has, a different kind of living. I don't even say senior living, different kind of living, different kind of envelope of a house. I think there's appropriate places for those. I think Sean could probably speak to it a little bit more on what he's used to seeing.
Well, what it does, Mayor and Council, it just gives the potential for some diversity in housing, but through the PUD process, planning and development process, you can work, the developer can work specifically with the fire department to make sure that access is appropriate, to make sure that this heights and rear yards and things like that are all built into the development. So it's not your standard subdivision. It's only probably a portion of that planned unit development. You wouldn't see the whole thing be part of that. Also keep in mind that a planned unit development has to have a component of commercial in addition to 2 residential components. So you'll be limited to what you see just because you're not going to have a whole lot of those truly mixed use developments, but at least it gives the developer the ability to propose that, to work with the fire district and then present that to you and you can make that ultimate decision.
So should we require having a letter from the fire department for any reduction in setback like that?
I'd recommend
So the
that. Yeah.
council knows that the fire department's on board with that?
I would suggest that, yeah.
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilman Nielsen?
You know, I like where we're going with this, and I like that it takes into consideration, you know, fire safety and things like that. And I think that's one reason that we're talking about setbacks. The other reason is just the look and feel of the development that occurs. And I think one of the concerns I would have by just making this contingent on a planned unit development is that it doesn't take into consideration that look and feel and avoiding stack and pack type development. And so I think I'd have more comfort with it if it was planned unit development and we identified the types of housing where that potentially could be. And you know, you mentioned some senior living. I think in the past we've talked about patio homes and things like that. There are probably a few types of housing, but if we call those out and make those applicable, and that way we're signaling to the developers, you know, what we intend as a city for development and not just leave it open to, you know, the single story. I think, at least for me personally, and I don't know how the rest of you feel about it, but that's one of the major goals of doing this as well. So.
Yeah, and Mr. Mayor and council member, I think our intent was we were seeing nothing but waivers on every single subdivision of setbacks, and the waivers should be like a special consideration. I think that you put it in the plan unit development, and there's a give and take between the developer and the city. You're giving up those unique setbacks. In exchange, you're getting increased open space. You're getting increased design standards. You're getting something in return for doing that. You can't get that in a normal standard subdivision, but in the PUD you can. And again, they'd have to work with the fire department to make sure that those standards are met.
And that's great as long as we agree that that's what we're willing to negotiate on.
And again, it all has to come back to the council for approval. So you will have a say in it.
So you want, basically what I'm hearing you say is you want basically a list of the approved type of housing approvals that we would consider that on.
Yeah, those planning
With the
developments will
fire
be very
department's
specific.
approval.
They'll be very specific in the design for those plan developments.
Right. And again, though, if we just leave it open, what I'm saying, I'll be really specific. I don't want to see 1 and 2 story houses coming back for setback waivers.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll come up with some specific style housing that you're talking about to bring back. And we could always change it if we need to at a hearing.
And again, you guys are going to be able to see this on June 7th with the code amendment, and we can tweak it a little bit more to make sure everyone's comfortable with it. But I think it's a good start.
Yeah, I totally believe it's a lot better than where we were at.
Okay,
Yeah, I
Mr.
think
Gregg?
it's a good idea. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead, Councilman Wheelock.
I'm just wondering if we want to incorporate wider roads with that give and take.
Well, it's 36 feet is our road width, but not allowing,
38.
we can do 38. We'd have to change that with ACHD. They would have to accept them
Yeah.
for maintenance, right? On there.
Anytime you go above a standard, I'm going from my world, it is extremely expensive.
Yeah. So 36 foot is the width for the city of Star, 33, I think, in other cities in Ada County. So, and I get it.
40 foot.
But anything else there, chief?
You know, I'd like to talk a little bit about Opticom. Opticom
Oh, yes.
doesn't really doesn't affect city vehicles. Do you have Opticom? Okay. Then police, fire, ambulances, I believe the snow plows, commuter buses, a lot of ITDs, snow plows and stuff, they all use Opticom, which Opticom changes the signal at a stoplight for us to get clear signal to go through. A lot of people would love to have it. The problem is, well, it's not a problem. I mean, it's just getting very expensive because our community is growing. Is for some reason, Ada County Highway District quit paying for them about 8 years ago and put it on the fire district. So as I mean, it costs us about $6,000 an intersection, but everybody else gets to use it. I don't know why that happened, but I've asked all those other people if they pitch in and pay for it. And of course, you never get a phone call back. I was wondering if in this planned ordinance that we're working on, can we put it on the developer? They're already putting the stoplight in. I don't know why they just don't have them put the Opticom.
Chief, would you need to develop like an impact study or like how we did the impact fees for revising of those? Is this be an impact fee type thing or just something we say, by the way, developer, because you're in this area, some math formula says you work this many intersections, you pay for that, or?
Well, I think it's if they are required to put in a stoplight, that they are required to put that Opticon in with that stoplight instead of passing the buck to the,
Oh, I see. So this
Instead of passing the buck to
a
the fire
one-time fee?
yeah.
One time.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I'm thinking yearly. My mistake.
The problem with
Oh.
passing the buck to the fire department, that's a taxpayer pay,
Right.
instead of a growth paying for it.
Absolutely.
Because that comes out of their general budget.
I don't see a
Pay for
problem with
that.
that at all. Just whatever the price is, they need an intersection, boom.
I don't know how it got put there. It was before my time. I've asked and it's just a question that nobody wants to talk about. And it's like the same thing that the mayor just said. I mean, want new growth to pay for itself. If on this street right out here in front of us, there's a development comes in, it's required to put a stoplight in or split a stoplight with somebody else. Why wouldn't they just split the cost of the Opticom?
Right.
They're putting the rest of it in.
You're talking $500,000 stoplight to $1.5 million stoplight.
You said it was what, $6,000?
Difference for them.
So,
Yeah,
so
it's
you're required to put
workable.
in the Opticon,
Pay for it.
pay for it. But the police use it. And
The snow plows
the
use it.
snow plows, but they expect you to pay for it.
Yep, ambulances.
You have lights that go through that intersection. Police have lights that go through that intersection. Why is ACHD or ITD not paying for that if they're the only ones that don't have lights that go through that intersection anyway?
And the buses through
buses.
VRT, yeah,
But-
things like that.
Nonetheless,
Just
you
keep.
have the exemption card with all those lights on the top. I don't understand why that's your
I don't
problem.
understand.
I don't
it.
think it's
Like
their
said,
problem, but I think
I've
it's-
asked that question several times and never got an answer.
I think our whole goal is to put it in our code that require development to pay for the Opticon systems when they're required to put in
So
light.
did you pay for the one over in front of Albertsons?
He's paid for all of them here.
I have one already purchased for, they've called me about,
Palmer,
then and Star Road. They're gonna do something with that intersection soon. They're doing a design on it, so they want to know if I had it. And so I asked a simple question of that one. It has it now. What are you gonna do with that one? And then they called me back. Yeah, we'll go ahead and use that one. So that was the same thing when I first got to Star Highway 16 intersection at 44 and 16. They put all the new lights up. They called and asked, where's our Opticom to put up there? I didn't know. I called the old fire marshal, Scott Buck. Hey, where's the Opticom? He said, tell them to give you the old Opticom and then you'll provide them with a new one. Never heard from them again. They had the old one. So I've been trying to push that. There is one at Palmer and 44. I think they called me on a design for that one. And they called me on a design for another one, but I had to pay for I didn't. Our taxpayers paid for the one at Beacon Light 16. And it's 4-way. So it's all way.
Right.
But it's in our fire district.
So Mayor, the proposed future light at Moyle, at Seneca Springs, and the one up on Chinden, halfway between 16 and Star, those are all developer driven.
correct.
So we could pass that cost on to them. The one at Chinden and Star, the new one that'll be at State and Star, Palmer, those are all,
So those are going to be ones that we're going to forcibly negotiate with ITD and ACHD to make
Right.
them pay for that instead of coming out of our coffers for that.
Yep.
I'm honestly, I mean, they're the ones that want to do all that design work, do everything. They should be paying for it, not the taxpayers.
Yep.
Here.
So we still currently have a lot of fire district on the south side of Chinden. We go all the way up to Ustick Road from Canada, all the way up to Ustick, down Ustick, past the new school. So the new school has been annexed by the
Right.
city of Meridian. So they put in a lot of lights up there to get people to the school. You saw the one at McMillan and Star Road. That's a crazy slide I've ever seen. Only signal I've ever seen that goes all the way across the road. And so they put that in for traffic. So in case anybody ever wanted to walk. Meridian is going to annex all that property. If the city of Meridian annexes property from a fire district, the fire district loses. And so I asked the city of Meridian to pay for all those opticoms because that was like 5 or 6 sets of opticoms up there. And within the next couple of years,
Right.
it's all going to be their fire department up there. So that's how I got out of those ones.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen?
so you pay for them now, rather the fire district pays for them. In the future, a developer may pay for them. Do they ever need service? Do they ever need to be replaced? And who pays for that?
Ada County Highway District takes care of them after that.
Okay.
So the only research that I found is Ada County Highway District just used to provide them. And then, I don't know, I came to Star in 2013. Sometime before 2013, they turned it over to the fire district.
So I'm going to ask you then, Greg, on the Canyon Highway District 4 side, do they pay for them or they still require you to pay for those? If they
Never
go
been
that
asked to
direction?
pay for a stoplight in Canyon County.
So we need to just make sure that, I guess, if we just say developer driven,
That's what happens when you got a road district with legislative power.
right? Yep. So you got that, Sean? Okay.
Besides that, I don't have, unless you guys have any questions for me.
You have any questions for Mr. Chief?
I have questions.
Yeah.
Do you have height restrictions that you have as a fire company that we're not meeting or that we need to be aware of that we're are the buildings coming in higher than your capability is to service?
Yes. We're planning for that. We are in the process of looking at a way to find, to get us a ladder truck. Just for some reason, over the last 6 months, price of ladder trucks have increased about $400,000. So they're about 1.6 million now. So we've been looking at for used ones or possibly an AFG grant next year for one. So to keep our insurance rating down in the city, we have to, currently we're at a 3. We used to be at a 4 3 years ago. We move it down to a 3. The lower the number, the better. In a residential setting, that doesn't change your insurance rate, homeowner's insurance rate much. It does for a commercial. It makes a huge difference. So they say once you have 5 buildings over 3 stories, you have to have a ladder truck. So because our neighbors have ladder trucks, we get a small portion of a discount, but we would go back to a 4 and potentially a 5 with the development that we're having. So we're going to some way, somehow get a ladder truck so we can do that. It doesn't mean that we should stop building 3-story buildings or like the cabinet factory. I think that's got a chimney or something that they came in and asked you for height.
Yep.
Well, we will use our neighbors until we get re-rated by the Insurance Rating Bureau every 7 years. So we're good for a few years. Our plan is to get a ladder truck through an AFG grant. Somebody might purchase us one, or we might find a refurbed new one. What our goal was to begin with, until the price increased so much, was we were just going to buy a single axle 75-foot straight ladder that we would have used as an engine and a truck at the same engine and a ladder at the same time. And then take the engine that we currently have in the Station 51 and move it to the new station that we're going to build out on Floating Feather. But with the price increase, it's not realistic for us. So we're trying to figure out something else.
So can that new engine be bought with impact fees?
Yeah.
Are we looking at the capital improvement plan again to see about?
Our 5
increasing
years
those?
are up. We're getting ready to go through the capital improvement plan again.
Okay.
I did hope to get some legislation changed to make it easier on all of us, but we're going to work on that next year.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that's a good question. I don't know. We'll have to look at that. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm gonna just throw this out here, guys. chief is having issues with the city of Eagle on them adopting the impact fee structure. For whatever reason, they just won't adopt it. And so the fire district on the city of Eagle side that they cover is not paying those impact fees currently. It's just those that are on our side in the North Ada County and in Canyon County. So, and that's why he's trying to get legislation changed to allow the authority to come to the fire departments versus going through the cities to do that.
So currently, the impact fee, you have only organizations with ordinance authority, which is cities, counties, and Ada County Highway District in the state statute. So farther down that impact fee rule, it says that fire districts, sewer districts, water districts can enter into an intergovernmental agreement to have a city or a county collect the impact fee for them. You have to go through the process of changing your comprehensive plan through the planning and zoning portion of it, and then doing the intergovernmental agreement with the city to collect them. It's expensive. I mean, I was at a fire chiefs conference last week where I talked to, this is a problem all over the state. Or for each, the Star Fire District touches 5 borders. So we have to have 5 of those intergovernmental agreements. It costs about $30,000 in attorney fees to get one of those agreements. That's what they're quoting now. And so some of these fire districts can't afford it. The other thing that changed not the last session, but the session before that, was the Impact Fee Advisory Committee. So that is owned by, in Star, it's owned by you, which is perfectly fine. Your citizens and our citizens are the same people. But when I'm doing it with Ada County, for the county, and I'm doing it for Canyon County, those citizens don't even live close to our district. And so they're the ones approving the capital improvement plan for the Star Fire District, and they're nowhere near it. The city of Eagle, we went through the process with them, with their impact fee advisory committee. And they're looking at us, I'm standing in front of them in the city council chambers in Eagle, and they're like, why are you asking us about your capital improvement plan? So because that's what state statute says they have to do. We don't live near it. Is it enough? Do you want more? I mean, they don't even know what to say. So we're going to try to get legislation. And apparently I found that when you ask for ordinance authority as a fire district, it really spins people up. So probably try to find a new word. I think our new buzzword this next couple of weeks that we're going to try is resolution authority. So we already have authority to write resolutions as a fire district. And so if we just take the current statute the way it's written and put ordinance/resolution, that takes care of districts. There was the one piece that Chris might know the answer to it, where they talk about the comprehensive plan. The fire district doesn't have a comprehensive plan, so why can't you just put /CIP? Because capital improvement plan is what our impact fees are based off of. Seems very simple to me. My last year of going through the legislature trying to figure this out, I found it is nothing that simple to do there. So we're gonna hit it again.
Okay.
But that'll save fire districts money. It'll save cities money, counties. It'll save our taxpayers money because they're the ones that end up paying for the attorney fees. We have to pay for out of our budgets. It cleans up who looks at the capital improvement plan and approves it. It'll be people that live in our fire district that do so. The only one thing that if a city or a county refused to collect them for us, just said, no, you're on your own. That could be the only thing that I can see that can be difficult. I don't have an answer for it other than when I used to build in Canyon County, I used to have to go get a receipt from the highway district and a receipt from the Southwest District Health and bring it before I was able to get a building permit. I don't know why they wouldn't be able to do that, but that's the only question I haven't not been able to answer. What if Kevin Nielsen as a builder doesn't pay for it? Then what are you gonna do? Like drive over and talk to him, but I don't have that answer.
Any further questions of Chief? Yeah, okay, question for Chief.
Not serious. I see people flash their lights at the stoplight. That doesn't work, does it? Okay, just wanted to get that on the record.
Any further questions of Chief? Do you have anything else there, Chief?
I don't think so.
I think you need to take Councilman Hershey on a drive so he can see how it works.
You can't see them anymore. They're buried into the light bars. You
Oh.
can't, you used to be able to see them flash really fast. Ada County Highway District has the machine that calibrates it to work with the ones that are hanging on the pole. But they're all blacked out. You can't see them.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
For vehicle, it's about $750.
What do you do with your old ones?
Where do you get one?
We keep them.
You keep him?
At some point, they become obsolete and they won't work with the new systems. That was the only question that the guy that I talked to at the Star Road and Chinden was, it might need a new board.
Oh,
board's gonna-
motherboard?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's gotta be a lot less than buying all the pieces that go on the poles and everything else.
Right.
Thank you for all you do.
Yeah, thank you.
Greg.
Appreciate it.
Greg, since it was brought up, do you want to talk to them about your idea of taking them out on the road and
What?
taking the council members out and
Putting turnout gear on them, make them go be firefighters for a day?
Oh, yeah, we can.
Spray them
we
with
could
the hose.
definitely
I bet people
arrange
line up for
that.
that.
have them lug stuff upstairs?
Did you do it?
Yes.
You did it.
No, is it the professional?
Fire ops?
Yes, long time ago.
So fire ops is done for this year. Fire ops will come up next year and it'll actually be in Boise. So every other year, it's either in Boise or it's at a Hammer up in Washington. So we can take one elected official from our district anywhere and run them through it. And you'll go through with one of our guys or gals and you'll climb a ladder. You'll go into a burning building, pull a body out. It's a dummy, obviously. Put a fire out, vehicle extrication, ride in an ambulance like you would as a firefighter or a paramedic going to the hospital. I mean, they just drive down the road a little way so you can see what it feels like actually trying to work on somebody, trying to do CPR, trying to get a line in somebody as you're bouncing down the road. I can't remember several other pieces to it. And
Cutting a roof?
Yeah, I did it
did
last
it.
year.
Okay.
And it was a enlightening experience, to say the least. I'm very glad and that I did it. And one time was enough. And I admire all the firefighters greatly because it was exhausting and so difficult. So really appreciate all that you do. I've never used a chainsaw and I was we actually had to climb up the ladder truck to the top of a 4-story building. Yeah, 3-story. When we got to with all of our gear and the backpack, tank, everything, and got to the top, and then we had to chainsaw the a mock roof, exhausted, and get to the top. And like I said, I've never used a chainsaw before. Getting a little long here, but so I did it, and then they asked if I wanted to do it again, and I'm like, yeah, I do. It was an amazing experience,
But
and
today
I
she
would
says
recommend
no.
it. Yeah, one time was enough for me. I would, going down to your station here, I think that might, we could all get in your gear and see just how heavy it is. But I would recommend it to anyone to do that. Participate if you can. So.
We have talked about doing a small one on our own. I mean, we have the training facility at the Kingsbury station, but we can do live burns and we can outfit anybody that is willing to go in and breathe there and go in there and feel the heat. You can always walk out the door if it's too hot. It's pretty intense. And we can have you come downstairs through the smoke so you can see what it's really like when you really can't see. All the flashlights you want, you can't see. And pulling a hose, so you can find out what hose really weighs.
And
So
the
we-
power of that hose when you turn that.
We could
puppy on.
definitely, we
Yeah.
can definitely do it. We have talked about setting up the local thing for just nothing like what you did. I mean, you basically did every aspect that we do. We can get a couple cars and you can pick up the extrication equipment and cut A posts, B posts and doors and that kind of stuff because it's heavy. Heavier than you think it is.
Yep, those are the firefighters with no necks that carry those. Those are heavy. So anything further for chief? Anything further, chief?
I don't have anything. Did I forget anything, Sean?
Okay, cool. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So we got you got marching orders there, Sean, on what you're doing. Okay. We'll move on to item 6G, the ordinance. We need to suspend the rules on this ordinance. Are you wanting to say something?
Just
Chris?
briefly, Mayor.
Okay,
We don't have to go through all the steps again because that was already done and that's fine. The issue was just on the publication piece. So as you can see, the way it's, we're
just a roll call vote to
we're
reaffirm it?
reaffirming
Okay.
the adoption of the ordinance. Since that's the only piece that we need to do so that we can then republish it. So, which is scheduled for Thursday, if you weren't aware. So it'll be in the paper this week. And
Okay.
but you do not have to waive the rules and
Okay.
all that kind of stuff.
All right, so entertain a motion to approve the ordinance reaffirmation.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen, sorry.
blast from the past.
Yeah.
I move that we approve ordinance 357-2022 reaffirmation. An ordinance amending the chapter 9 of Title 1 of the Star City Code, designating an official newspaper, repealing ordinances in conflict, creating for severability and providing for an effective date.
Okay, we got a motion. We have a
Second.
second. I'm sorry.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmonson,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. We're going to move on to item 6H, which is the final plat for the American Star number 4 subdivision. The reason this was pulled off because Miss Jennifer has some comments or
Yep, just one. I'd like to add a condition for American Star to widen the sidewalk along Floating Feather to a minimum of 8 feet or as approved by ACHD. So yeah, that's why I moved it off of the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I did give Jennifer the section of the final plat ordinance that allows minor changes when an agency requests something and it would still be in substantial compliance with the preliminary plat. So that's what gives you the power to add this condition to the final plat.
and the reason for that is on the Rosti Farms to the east, they started out with 10-foot sidewalks on there. They came back and added that. And I believe on this one, it showed 5 feet. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep. And
Yeah.
so to be consistent, 8 feet is what our code currently says, but allowing the agency to go up to 10, which they'll make them do probably anyway.
Mr. Mayor and Council, ACHD has been requiring, starting with Rosti Farms, to have that combination pathway.
Multi-use pathway.
Bike path, all built into one. So that's what the 10 feet is for. These subdivisions we're seeing final plats on now came in before that was changed. And so
For it, 10
that
foot.
was the reason for
That's not a problem.
Councilwoman's request.
Okay. Did you make a motion or you just make a comment?
I was just making a
Okay.
comment.
Any further comments?
Yeah, Mayor Chadwick.
Councilman Nielsen?
So my memory may not serve correctly, but have we been requiring or asking people to build 7-foot sidewalks?
I think on the,
I thought,
Actually, on Beacon Light, I think we were doing the 7.
Right.
right.
And so.
but I think 8's in our code, correct?
8's in our code
Now.
now.
But we want them to go to 10. Or we think that the county will make them go to 10. Why not go to 10?
Well, can we go to 10 if it's not in our code as
Our
10?
code says 8. ACHD has been requiring 10, but we don't have anything official from them on this specific final plat. So I think the recommendation for a minimum of 8, unless additional is required by ACHD, would be an appropriate condition.
Got it.
Okay,
That works for me.
that answer your questions there, Councilman? Okay. Any other questions? Okay, did you want to make a motion, Miss Jennifer?
Sure.
Okay.
So I'll move to approve item, what are we on?
That's going to be 4A or 6H,
Six
Hotel, yeah.
H.
yeah, final plat.
Final plat for American Star number 4 with the condition to widen the sidewalk along Floating Feather to a minimum of 8 feet or as approved by ACHD.
Okay, we got a motion. We have a second.
Second that.
We got a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmon,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. We're going to move on to item 6I, the final plat for Torchlight Estates.
So this item, it's a similar thing. Beacon Light is an arterial road. And so we've added that code that it would be 8 foot wide along arterials. So I'd like to add the same condition to this item. So I'll go ahead and move to approve. Let's see. Yeah, 6I, final plat Torchlight Estates with the condition to widen the sidewalk along Beacon Light to a minimum of 8 feet or as approved by ACHD.
Okay, we got a motion. We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Okay, I have something else to add to that, please. We do have some drainage issues on this project there that's impacting Miss Barbara Moyle. And we need to make certain that we have a condition in there that this gets addressed. Correct?
Mr. Mayor and Council, yes. Ms. Moyle did contact me. We have not been able to go out and look at the conditions, but I just want to get it on the record that we will follow through with that. And plats will not be signed until all the drainage issues are resolved. So I just wanted to get that on the record for Ms. Moyle.
Okay, does it need to be as a motion or, I mean, as part of the motion?
Brought it up, added it.
You can add it as an
Okay, I would
additional
add it.
condition. We have that last statement said the council or staff can add any additional conditions. So condition would just read all drainage issues with the neighbors shall be resolved.
Before signing of the final plat, yeah.
To the final
So-
plat.
All right, so I'll amend my motion to what Sean has stated.
Okay.
And just for the record, Mayor and Council, Ms. Moyle did bring this up in the preliminary plat. Ms. Moyle did bring this up in the preliminary plat testimony. And so
That's where I recognize you.
we got it. I mean, we did discuss it originally. And so I think a beefed up condition is not
That align.
inappropriate.
Okay, we got an amended motion. Do we have a minute second?
Amended second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmon,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. Item 7A is going to be tabled till June 7th.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hershey?
I propose that we table the public hearing for Stardale Place subdivision till the 7th of June, was that?
Yes, 7th of June.
June 7, 2022.
Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion?
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen?
this is just a question about the process here. Because we haven't opened public hearing, are we able to table it or do we just, is this
Yeah.
an amended agenda item?
No, this is, Chris said, yes, to table it.
So it is a table?
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
You bet. Any further questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmon,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. It is 7:59. That's the last item on our agenda, so we are adjourned.